Faisal Salum, Fiston Maele, Oswena Police, Lungelo Nguse. These are just 4 of the many signings who are currently linked with coming to Kaizer Chiefs this upcoming January transfer window. But you'll be sad to know that none of them might actually end up coming to Kaizer Chiefs. And there's a reason for this. Starting with the fact that out of the players who are currently at Kaizer Chiefs right now, Riff Rossler is the only one who has signed in the January transfer window and has been regarded as a successful transfer. Because you see, in football, only 50% of transfers are successful, and in the Premier League, to be specific, it's 44%. There's not been calculations for the Premier Soccer League in South Africa, but you expect something like that. And that is why Kaizer Chiefs are usually so cautious when it comes to signing new players, no matter how good they are at their current clubs, because we have seen a lot of other players that come to Kaizer Chiefs from their clubs known as the best of the best, but then they get to Chiefs and then they are no longer showing the things that they were showing from where they're coming from. And what makes the January transfer window an even worse time to sign a player is because of a simple thing which is called demand and supply. Let's take Unguse for example. He's currently playing for Golden Arrows and he's a striker, and Kaizer Chiefs need a striker, right? So if Kaizer Chiefs go to Golden Arrows and they say, hey Arrows, we want to sign Unguse from you. And as we know, in South Africa, we also have that problem that there isn't really transparency when it comes to how much a player is worth, because you can see here his market value is 300,000 pounds, right? I mean euros. If you convert this into South African rands, it's something around 7 to 8 million rands, right? Might be slightly off, but it's somewhere there. But if his market value is 300 euros, right? 300,000 euros, which is 7 million rands, then at this point in time in January, if a team comes to you and they say, hey, we want one of your good players, in your head as a selling team, you are thinking, wait, they are desperate, so I can afford to charge them a bit more. So then you'll find Golden Arrow saying, give us 10 million, because we clearly see that you are creating a lot of chances and you are desperate to get our Nguse. That's the first problem. But the second problem is this. South African football, we have this problem. You can see that Unguse joined Arrows in June 2023, but we do not know when his contract expires. So that is a problem. His contract might be expiring in 2026 with an option to extend, which is something the Chiefs found out actually with Umtum Tanzani the other season. They were trying to bring him to Kaizer Chiefs only to find that, hey, actually this guy, Cape Town City, had an option to extend his contract, which they then triggered, and then Kaizer Chiefs ended up having to pay money for that player. And it's not just Unguse, because even with our police, we know that there's already a story about Orlando Pirates wanting to sign him. But if you also look at Osuna Police, you will see a similar thing, because if you look here, his contract, what does it say? It says that his contract expires in June 2026. And the team has an option to extend by a further year. His market value, 600,000 euros. There is a lot of money, because now we're talking about Boma 13 million rands to get this player. And you can see his involvement in Bafana has significantly increased his market value. And given the fact that the whole thing of demand and supply, there is a high demand, Chiefs really need, they really need, they are in, what is this? What is English running away? They really need the player, but the team that is trying to sell has leverage then to say, hey, actually, we want to keep him as well. So you are going to have to pay us. You look at Fiston Maele as well. It's the same thing. His contract expires in 2026. And if we just look at his market value, 1.2 million euros, around 30 million rands if you convert it. And he's currently a star player for E-Pyramids. So they could also afford to say, hey, we know he's worth 32 million, but we want 40. So now Kaizer Chiefs are in a lot of trouble. So that is one of the reasons, of the many reasons why Kaizer Chiefs are really in trouble in finding these players. And we are not just done yet, because even with Salum, it's the same thing. If you look at his situation as well, you will see that if you look at Faisal Salum, there he is, joined Azam 2023. We don't know when his contract ends. His market value says 100,000 euros, but I think it's not updated because he's been prolific for the team and his value is supposed to have gone up. But if this is the case, that means he might just be the cheapest player to get. But if we're being honest, these are not just the only values, the things that will affect whether these players come to Kaizer Chiefs or not. Because if we further look down here, there's also another situation, and it's the fact that right now Kaizer Chiefs are really forced into just signing those players that we know, unless the scouting guy has gone out and found us some really good signings. The other thing that we have right now is that we've had in previous years is the fact that players did not really, some of them did not want to join the Chiefs because Chiefs were not winning cups, and usually around this time the coach would be under pressure. Nabi is also under pressure, but I am sure that the management is going to hold their breaks. If they did it with Kevin Johnson, they did it with Uzwane, they are surely going to do it for I almost said Kevin Johnson, for Nasreddin Nabi as well. So that is the situation that we're in right now, that players could say, ish, Nabi is under pressure, so won't go to a team that looks like they're in the rebuilding stage. And we are not sure whether this team is going to be playing in Africa or not, because that is a very important thing. Players want to go to teams that are playing in Africa. For example, Apolis has ambitions to go abroad. He wants to be at the best stage. And yes, if you're playing for Kaizer Chiefs, you are likely going to get exposure. Salum playing for Azam is thinking, hey, we have ambitions over there to go to Africa and play in the CAF Confederations Cup or the CAF Champions League. Exposure for me. You have the same thing with Umaelis. Playing for Pyramids is getting that exposure. Maybe the player who might not be reluctant to coming to Chiefs is probably Unguse, because he's playing for Arrows and it would be a huge step up for him to move to Kaizer Chiefs. But then again, that's not just the only thing that we have to think about. We also have to think about the fact that right now we have Chiefs being a team that is basically a high pressure team, right? And when you come to Kaizer Chiefs, you are expected to solve all the problems. People don't care whether you are 17 and you are still writing your matric exams like Mfundo Vilagazi last year. You make one mistake, they are like, we're sanganela out of here. So I wonder how much of that plays into the players deciding whether or not they're coming to Kaizer Chiefs, because some people say pressure is a privilege, because if you are playing without pressure, then I mean that means what you are doing in whichever team you are playing for, it's not really that important. But if you are coming to Chiefs and there is that pressure, then you might just be in a very good situation. But what do you guys think? Do you actually think that Chiefs will end up doing something that we are not expecting and signing good quality players this January, or do you think that we're still going to keep it safe and we will only make good signings rather come the end of the season? Do let me know down on the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and if you are watching this already in January 2025, Happy New Year. I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals and